Hey, I'm Naomi Hall, and I want to welcome you to Mindset Makeover, finding your power through fitness, nutrition, and community. And my whole purpose with this summit is that we know what to do when it comes to healthy living, but we struggle to do it. And two big components of that are our mindset and community that surrounds us. So today I have with me Dr. Nicole Woodard, excuse me, and she from a very early age was interested in healing, and at age 10 decided that she was going to be a physical therapist, and she graduated with her doctorate in physical therapy in 2010 from the University of Evansville. And she was consistently intrigued by holistic and collaborative healing, and so she worked with division 1 athletes at Indiana State University and started the first collaborative sports performance program in her local area. And then in 2017, she began her journey into entrepreneurship by working with professional CrossFit Games athletes and Olympians across the US and the world. And so from that, she has been a podcast host, an author, a business mentor, and a coach. But in 2020, your path changed a little bit. So, Nicole, welcome. And I'd love to hear a little bit about that shift for you.
Well, thank you so much for having me. And I'm really excited and I'm glad that we're starting here with this story because this is really where life took a big shift for me. So, at the very end of 2019, I was involved in an Ironman event. I was actually a participant, and in front of me, there was another triathlete. It was very congested, and she was passing other bikers on the course. And when she did, she had a bike verse semi collision. So they had just shut down one side of the road. And so immediately, even as a physical therapist, my like medical background took over. I threw down my bike and I went to go to respond. And so I was there at the moment that her life really ended. And I was surrounded by her teammates. I was surrounded by a lot of other people on the course. Obviously, there's thousands and thousands of people competing in this event. And the very unique piece that was very life changing for me was one, my personal reaction, right? So it was like
Mhm.
what personally was happening to me and my body and my mind as these things were happening, and then also was kind of this outside view of what else was happening around me. How were other people externally reacting to this event? And how was it so different? So I came back home. I took actually 3 weeks off from work. And I was unable to go back to work in the capacity I did before, and just realized that actually a lot of parts of my life were unaligned and I was unable to keep doing that. So I stepped away from corporate healthcare full time, went full time entrepreneurship, stepped back into my family, stepped back into myself, and really started actually honoring who I was.
That had to be such a, I don't know, just such an experience that like that stays with you, like that kind of thing. Like you don't forget that. So how did you make this shift? Because you are an active entrepreneur now. So what was your healing journey, and what did you need to do to make that shift for your own healing, your mindset, and out of, I mean, I've been in public education, so I've made my own shift into entrepreneurship and that. And I know like my mom is a nurse, so the traditional medical system is not unfamiliar to me. I mean, I also have dealt with chronic illness, so pretty
Mm.
familiar with that system. Um, but also I've made some shifts myself to the more holistic side. What were the mindset things that you had to deal with there?
Well, I think first of all, it's understanding that it's a journey, right? Because so often we open up the book and you might see where I'm at right now. And it's very different than where I was in 2020 whenever I actually left. So the first part was that I dove straight into my business and went hustle, hustle, hustle. My
Mm,
husband and I made no plan for me to leave my job whatsoever. Like, literally, I got a text message that said my hours were changing. I sent it to my husband and he said, "When are you quitting?" And I said, "Are you serious? I'll put in my resignation on Friday because I'm not doing well anyway." And he was like, "Yeah, just do it. And I was like, okay. So step one is I just dove into what I knew, which was one-on-one, was a full schedule. When I worked in corporate healthcare, I had like over 200% productivity.
Mhm.
They required that we see 7 to 8 patients a day, and I was seeing 18 to 20
Oh,
patients a day. Yeah, like I just have always been had this like go-getter mentality, but I would go so hard and then I would crash. And then I would go so hard and then I would crash. And so
mhm.
I took that straight into my business. So I ran away from work PTSD in one spot, and then I just overlaid my business and all of the stresses on it there. And I remember my husband, I was about 2 months into my business and he said, "Nicole, I love you so much." And he's extremely supportive. He said, "But you cannot keep telling me that you're stressed out every single day because now you're in charge of it." And I was like,
Mhm.
"Ooh, yeah, you're right." And that was whenever I started actually implementing and integrating all the mindset stuff. You guys can see there's books behind me. I have shelves and shelves and shelves of books. You can read the books, but integrating and actually implementing it into your life are very, very, very different things. And
Mhm.
what I found was the integration and the implementation takes way longer than it takes to read a book and highlight some quotes.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
does. You're right. Like, and I've kind of been a very similar journey of like read the books, but then that work to implement is just that's work. But yeah, when you run your own business, you're like, yeah, I am the boss, aren't I?
Yeah, it's like a hard reality, right? Like, because it's easy. I was in a place, this is actually the first mindset shift that I recommend to everybody is begin to start living at cause of your life. And until it took entrepreneurship for me to actually integrate that, right?
Mm,
Because when we live at cause for our life, it says, I am responsible for how I react and what is happening to me in any situation that I'm in. But what was happening in my life is I was actually living in effect. I said, "Oh, so and so said I had to work over. Oh,
mhm,
all these patients need me, and I'm the one that can help them. They saw other people, it didn't work out, so I have to take that." And what was happening is I was just living in effect. I was putting all of that on everyone else. I'm so tired because they need me. I'm so tired because this job requires this. I can't be at home with my family and my son's struggling because this is just the way life is, and this is how work is, and this is what it looks like to be an adult, and everybody hates Sundays and everybody hates Monday, and then everyone prays for Wednesday, like, and that's how I lived every single day, very much in effect. So step one in the mindset thing was just stepping into cause, truly, like, that was like one of those like mind blown emoji moments when my husband said that to me, because he said it without judgment, and I really was finally able to say, "Oh, you're right. I'm
mhm.
actually creating all of this." And that was a huge shift.
Wow. So I feel like this we're recording this for an audience, but I feel like this is for me. I'm
That's
like,
how it works.
yeah, yeah. I'm like, all right, everybody, like you can listen along, but this one's hitting me right now. This is the second time I've heard this today. I was just on a coaching call, a big group coaching call that I participate in. I don't do the coaching. And almost the exact same thing was said of, are you living as the cause or because? Like
Mm,
you said, just because things are happening, or are you choosing the cause, stepping into the cause, just like you were talking about? I'm like, it's so true. Like and it even came up in another one of these interviews was taking, I think he phrased it as taking radical responsibility for our choices. And like, we are not at the whim of everyone else. We can be the cause. So I'm like, that is a great first step. I'm like, oh, I need to like sit on that for a little bit and think about like what are the areas that like I am just letting things happen and I'm choosing the effect rather than the cause, and choosing my actions and choosing my responses. Um, So yeah, wow, what a great place to start. I love that. So you do still work with clients, and you are a physical therapist, you work in mobility, and like you do a lot of things. So when we're talking about people wanting to get healthy, because they obviously come to you because they want to get healthy in multiple different ways, what do you find to be like the mental roadblocks that they have of like, well, here's the first mindset step you need to take. What's holding them back from living a healthy
Yeah. So really, I work with leaders that are taking care of everyone and everything else. And they also want to take care of themselves, but one of two problems is usually happening. The
life?
first one is I don't know how to do that or where the time is. So I call that like a logistical problem, right? So I don't have the time, or how do I actually take care of myself? Is it a bubble bath every day? What is it that's actually self-care? Is it a massage once a month? And then the second part that usually is the other roadblock, some people have both, is do I actually need to take care of myself? Is that actually important, and when is it important? And it's really finding that mechanism of when do we actually listen and take care of ourselves, because so many people are like, yeah, 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 I need to take care of myself, and self-care doesn't pay my bills.
Mhm.
Self-care doesn't build my business, so I'll get to it in the next year, or I'll get to it when I make this amount of money, or I'll get to it then. So they're kind of the pause people, right? Like I'll get there when, or I'll do that when. And those are really the people that I work with, because what we know is a lot of times what you said, people come to me to get healthy because a lot of them have hit the win. The
Mhm.
win is, I have a chronic illness. The
Mhm.
win is I'm stressed out, I'm having mental health concerns. The win is I've realized this trauma that has happened in my past is now affecting my present and my future. How do I deal with that? The win could be an injury. The win could be a limiting mindset. Like, I want to do this. I've been at business for years. It's not working out. Now what? But they've hit kind of the frustration point, and now we might have to do a little bit of convincing, but most people show up and then it's like, okay, now what? How do I keep integrating that into my life? How do I keep making it a priority? And what are the logistics behind it?
Yeah, I can totally relate to your clients of like I hit that when I was like, nope, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine. And then I was like, I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not fine. Like my clothes don't fit. I hate looking at my closet. I don't feel good. I don't have energy. Like, yeah, when you hit that point, I wish we could more people came for help before they hit that point.
Right. Can we locate, and this is what I teach inside the happiness cycle, is can you locate the win before it's a physical symptom?
Mm,
Before it's the weight gain, before it's the chronic fatigue, before it's the illness, before it is, like, not to scare people, but before it is cancer or disease, or, a heart attack or something like that.
mhm,
What are the other indication points that we're actually looking at and actually making them matter as much as over here does?
mm,
And a lot of that still comes back to the physical body. So this is kind of mindset tool of listening to your physical body.
mm,
We hear a lot of things about the unconscious mind right now. Like, those of you guys that are listening that haven't heard, we kind of have these two parts. We have our conscious mind and we have our unconscious mind. Our unconscious mind, it takes in all the information, right? 11,000 parts of information every second. And your unconscious mind doesn't ignore it. It takes it all in. It builds patterns, it builds all your brain networks, everything, so that you can make rapid decisions. And it makes those rapid decisions. It makes 95% of your decisions for you without you even realizing why you did it. Your unconscious mind may have brought you on this little summit and you have no idea why you're here, but now you're like, okay, I've heard that speaker and that speaker and that speaker. That's why I'm here. Your unconscious mind saw something that you told it was important.
mm,
And your conscious mind is the thing that we use to think, right? It really is, thinks in symbols. It's the part of us that takes action. So neither one is bad or good. It's literally what we have.
Mhm.
And what's really cool, this comes back to the physical body that I just said. You use your unconscious mind your unconscious mind communicates inside your physical body.
Mhm.
That's its stage, right? Because your conscious mind is taking action. Your conscious mind has a little bit of mental chatter, right? It's the actual things that we can hear and think about. Your unconscious mind, it's moving so rapidly, it doesn't necessarily have time for that, but it uses our physical body as the stage. So this is why we get disease, this is why we get illnesses, this is why we feel the fatigue. It's actually our unconscious mind saying, I like call it like the little toddler because it's really created like 0 to 7. So imagine like the little toddler that's like, "Mom, mom, mom," right? It's like, and what happens if you keep ignoring it? It gets louder, it screams, it pokes you, it goes and destroys your bedroom because you're not paying attention to it. This is what your unconscious mind is doing too. It says, there is something important. Maybe that importance is rest. Maybe is conscious mind. We need to take this kind of action, and you're not paying attention in order for us to get to our goals. But we've got to start listening to our physical body, but long, 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 long before we get to disease, pain, injury, fatigue, all of those things. Where is our point before that? How are we practicing that before those points?
Okay. Yeah. And that's so we have the like the one indicator of like everything's falling apart and I feel like trash and like I need to sleep for 3 weeks. So, I mean, that's a pretty clear indicator.
Yep.
And my background is the field of education. And we know like once school's out, teachers are like, I'm done for a few weeks. Like, find me in July after I've like woken up again, you know? So, before we hit that point, what are some of the more gentle indicators that we can like start to notice in our body of like, oh, I probably should listen to that?
Mm. Well, let's actually, can we do an exercise?
Sure.
Okay, so let's do an exercise. So you guys can close your eyes if you want to and really just follow your breath. So this is through language of breath. This is called the awareness exercise, which some of you guys have been exposed to. We're just going to use it in a little bit of a different way because you can use any tool that you want in whatever way that serves you. And so I just want you to think of the last time that you felt really anxious. Those feelings came up of, oh my gosh, I have so much to do. I need to hustle harder. Why am I not keeping up? Now I want you to take your hand and I want you to place it over the area of your body that felt that. Mine's like right where my rib cage kind of like angles down and comes together right underneath the center of my chest. Where is yours? There's no need to be scared of feelings like this. So often we're taught to put them off, but there's no reason to be scared. Because all we're doing is telling our unconscious mind that we're listening. And when you think about this feeling of anxiousness, the long to-do list, not good enough, you got to hustle more, but you don't have any more energy. What are we going to do? There's more questions than there are answers. Look underneath your hand. What is here? And I don't mean the anatomy, although that's fun too. Is there a shape? Mine's a circle. Is there a color? Mine's like literally like almost like a tie-dye, black to purple, black to purple. And is it moving or is it just stagnant? Some people see trees, some people see volcanoes or fireworks, triangles, circles, spheres. There's no, whatever your unconscious mind is communicating to unconscious is communicating to conscious is right. Their textures or weight. And just take a moment to stay with this. This is the first indicator. We can come to this anytime we want. And with everything that your unconscious mind just made conscious through all the symbols, You find if you stay with it long enough that there might be more answers, that you can ask it questions. It'll talk right back to you. Maybe not in words, but just with knowing. Sometimes it's words, sometimes it's pictures. And just like this emotion was here, I want you guys to think, okay, allow that to dissolve with the next exhale. Just let it all go, right? That's an easy one to pull up. We can come back to it anytime we need. Don't worry, unconscious mind, we're here. I want you, just with your eyes still closed, now I want you to think about a time that you felt so accomplished. You got everything done on your to-do list. You were rocking it. You made all the appointments, you showed up, you did all the things, and you had the energy to do it. When was the last time that you were just so full of energy, you were crushing your to-do list, so much accomplishment? Where is that at in your body? You can run through the exact same thing. Mine's like up in my upper chest. You guys could probably hear the change in my voice. What's the shape? What's the color underneath that hand? What is it wanting to say? And here's the thing, it's got lots to say, right? Maybe it's the sound of your higher self saying, I'm proud of you. Maybe it pulls up another memory, a memory of you as a child. Whatever it does, it's perfect. Now, just take a moment just to say thank you, because this was just a really quick exercise. Just say thank you. Thank you, unconscious mind, for communicating with me. Thank you, conscious mind and body, for actually listening for just a second, following along. Thank you guys for actually following along. And then just take a nice breath out, and slowly you can wake up your face with a smile and just come back to now, knowing you can listen anytime you want. That's step one, right? Of listening to our physical body.
Wow. That was, yeah. Like I feel it in different places.
Hmm.
Yeah. Like I definitely feel like the anxiousness here.
Mm,
It's definitely like, yeah, like you said, like that to-do list and all of that stuff. But then the accomplishments, like here, like you're strong,
right.
you're capable. Yeah.
And think about how quickly, just with my words, you were able to transition between the two.
Hmm.
That's the mindset shifts. The mindset shift says we have enough room in our unconscious mind and in our body to hold both and all and everything.
Mm.
So, can I hold both the anxiety and the huge to do list? At the same time that I hold that I've actually accomplished a lot, I am enough, and my dreams are here and coming. Can I hold all of that? And the answer is yes. So, this type of exercise helps you realize there's differences and that your body is capable of holding all of that. You're just deciding which one gets the most energy. So, which one do you want to give the most energy to? And I want to say that it's not just about saying, okay, I'm going to, we talk about, maybe you guys have seen toxic positivity. It's not saying, oh, I'm just going to focus on the accomplishment. I'm going to ignore this anxiety that's sitting on my chest like a massive big elephant. No, 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 no. It's saying, hey, you know what? Right now, to stay in integrity, I've actually promised these 6 things to get done. Or my kids are screaming, they're sick. I need to go focus over there. I actually am going to focus on the calm part of me, the get it done part of me, the energetic part of me, because I need to. Anxiety, I'm not ignoring you. I will come back. I promise, because I trust you. And then it's saying, okay, hey, it's 6 o'clock at night. My partner's gotten home, or I can have someone come and help me for an hour. In that hour, I'm going to step away. I'm going to take at least 20 minutes. I'm going to come back to that spot. I'm
Mm.
going to come back. I'm going to listen and see what is here for me.
Mhm.
And I'm going to take action on that in any way that I can. So it's really about that balance, because I don't want people to think that I'm saying, oh, you can feel both. So just migrate it away. No, 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 no. Because that anxiety is still going to stay there. And then that's whenever it turns into panic attacks. And then
Mhm.
it turns into chronic illness. And then it keeps going, right? Until you take time to listen to it. So we want to listen to both. We want to decide when both get energy and when both are going to have their stage and their time to shine, because we want both to shine. We want both to listen. We're not scared of our emotions. We have space for them.
Wow, I really like that. I love the both and of we can have two opposing feelings, emotions at the same time. And I still relate to that because there's so much in life that is like happiness happening with sadness and good happening in the midst of bad. Like it's never I try to teach my clients, like it's never all or nothing when it comes to our lives, our health, our nutrition, our fitness, any of it. It's never all or nothing. And like that kind of sets us up for failure. But you're talking in the emotional space of it's not all or nothing there either.
Mhm.
We can embrace both, but we get to choose which and when.
Yes.
I
And
love that.
that is the balance. That's what you guys are hearing, the balance of the masculine and the feminine, the balance of this, the balance of that. I do believe balance actually exists. Like it exists inside of our body. Our body's constantly in harmony. So when we buy in, people are like anti-hustle culture. Me too. And there is a time to hustle. People are don't be lazy, don't rest. And it's like, no, there is a time if you want to take a nap, take a nap. There's whole cultures that nap every day. Like
I think they have it right. Like I'm a totally a
yeah,
fan of naps.
100%.
Yeah, yeah. I love that of like we can embrace more than one thing. Now, where does community play into this and helping us with
Mhm.
this? Like what's that piece? Because I think you have a community.
Yes. So I think it goes, I mean, I know that this is like an age old adage. So I'm not saying anything you haven't heard before. And you know this already as successful people, or you wouldn't be on this summit, right? That we are the five people we surround ourselves with. And that it just really holds true. And it holds true because you want mentors and people that are taking time, that are validating you. So, should you validate your own emotions 100%, you also want to be surrounded by other people that are validating your emotion and asking you proper questions rather than just telling you what to do. And when we act that way towards ourselves, we start to notice that our community starts to act that way too. And when our community acts that way, we act that way. And so, community, community, community. It is a lonely journey out there, guys. We got to be human beings for a reason, and that reason is community. Our entire biology is set up for community, for togetherness. There are some of us that our purpose in life is to go out and take an individual journey so that we can come back and reteach the community new things so that we can evolve. Some of us, it's to stay in the community and to hold on to our traditions. Whatever you feel like your journey is, it's right. And it will always come back to community. So look around. If you are very, well, you can be both. You can be both happy and dissatisfied, I guess, because we just talked about that. But if you're struggling, look at your community. Are they validating you? Are they the type of people that they're at summits like this?
Mhm.
Do they show up and listen and know how to ask you questions and hold space for you? Do they accept all of who you are? Do they even have the capacity? Right now I've really been working on expanding and decolonizing my business because I realized that even though it was unintentional because of just societally how I've been taught, there are things that I needed to open my mindset to. There's things that I didn't know, blind spots. So I'm like, okay, I'm having new people, new community come in and open me up to blind spots. And I think that's what community does best for us. When in my community, the happiness cycle, I actually go through every single quarter. I go through the whole entire program with everybody else in my community because there's always new insights.
Mhm.
Being a great leader means that, so I say that it's three things. When you're a great leader, you embody all three and you know when to embody each one. There's times when you're a puller, so you're actually the person in front and you're pulling your community along. You're saying, I've learned new things. Come be with me. There's your runners. So your peers, you're running right alongside of each other, hand in hand, continuing to see each other, push each other forward. And then there's pushers, the people that are behind you and they're reminding you that there's still things that need to be done and they're continuing to elevate you. And as a great leader, I believe you play all three roles. And I play all three roles in the happiness cycle. I used to think that like to be a great leader, I had to be like the polar in the front. That was such BS. Like again, mindset stuff, right? Like we think, oh, I can't do that. I can't be a leader until I'm great at everything. No, 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 no. Your community will push, pull, and run beside you if you let them. And they will elevate you and you will elevate them. And so that's where community comes in. And that's also where you just check your ego at the door, right? You're like, am I always trying to be a puller? That's not right. Am I always just trying to be a runner, right? Beside people and I don't want to go in front of anyone and I don't want to go fall behind anyone. Okay, that's not right either. We don't want to be scared of any position that we hold in life or inside any container, inside any community. And for me, that's what community has meant.
As you were describing that, I was like thinking of the communities that I have, and I think like we have multiple communities that we're a part of, and I was thinking of my team that I'm on in my business, and I was like, okay, as you were describing the pullers, the pushers, the runners, I was like, well, there are times when I'm a puller and I'm at the front and sharing and leading and guiding, and there are times when we're just all running together and like doing our business and encouraging each other. And there's times when I'm at the back, kind of, you got it. You can keep going. You can get to the next step. Like we've got this together. So I love that description of like, we can be all of those positions. Yeah, I love what you're sharing with us today. Like I said, I think this interview's for me. If nobody else gets anything else out of it, that's okay because I needed it today.
Mm.
Can you tell us a little bit more about the happiness cycle? Because like you've gone from like being in corporate healthcare as a PT to doing the happiness cycle. So I want to know a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so it was such a funny evolution because people kept coming to me and just saying, I just want to be happy. Like, I tore my ACL, but I just want to be happy. And I'm like, gosh, that just seems, and that's what I was craving too, right? I was just like, I just want to be happy. I just want to be happy. And I was like, Nicole, and I'm like reading all these books with these big, like fancy words, and like all these things. And I'm like, happiness feels like such an easy thing. Like, well, doesn't everyone want to be happy? And so I was like, you know what? I'm just going to play with this. I'm going to see what actually happens if people actually respond to this. And it's been my most successful program I've ever had in my business. And I love it so much. So this is just also permission, guys. If something seems easy or too elementary, it's probably because it's exactly what everyone needs. Like people didn't I was like, well, you can align with your human design and you can like all these like words and all these techniques and like people had no idea what I was talking about. I was like, yo, listen, if you're someone that takes care of everyone and everything else and you also want to take care of yourself and you just want to be happy. And if happiness to you means clarity, confidence and contentment in your life, cool. Like let's go. If you want to go from stress to overwhelm to that, awesome. And so that was really how the happiness cycle was born. I actually got, like, to be honest, it was born by me blowing up my business. So a year ago this month, actually, gosh, a year ago, let me see. Tomorrow, I sent out, how serendipitous. I sent out an email to all my clients and I said, I can't handle business right now. Here are my 3 recommendations of who you guys go and see. And I closed my doors. I said I had no idea. So I went from making about $90,000 a year in my business to 0. Again, I had no plan for it. I just really follow my heart, guys. It's a very scary thing sometimes. And I remember I was laying in the bathtub and just shot off this email. I was like, I can't ignore this anymore. We had added to our family a newborn. We adopted my daughter. And so she would have been a year old in September. And so obviously I'm staying at home full time with her. She wasn't going to daycare. And then she had a full biological brother who was 14. So 4 months after she was born, we also added him to our family. So we went from a family of one to a family of, or well, one child to three children. And I just thought I was going to keep on working, keep on doing what I was doing. And I realized how unaligned it was, how unhappy I was. And this is just also permission again, guys. There's tears. You guys have heard in my story. It was like I was unhappy. I was struggling in corporate healthcare. I had this massive traumatic change, decided I couldn't go back to work. I came into my business. I fell in love with my business. My husband really taught me like, hey, let's figure out how not to be stressed. And then other big life events happened and the same pattern started to show up again. I was like, you know what? I'm going to check myself at the door. I'm going to exit. And I didn't know if I would ever work again, which anyone you guys heard in my bio, I had wanted to be a physical therapist since I was 10. I have my doctorate. I got a lot of achievement. I got a lot of love from people thinking I was really great at my job. And I decided, you know what? No, no more. And I left all of it. And because at that time I was ready, even though it was very scary. And so I didn't work for 4 months. I remember I was washing dishes and I started hysterically laughing. And I was like, oh my gosh, I might never work again. And I was like, holy crap. And I still really like myself. Who knew? Like it was literally 4 months of like all these tools, listening to all these people, podcasting, having mentors, all the things that I'd done for years just culminated. I had given them space to breathe, right? I'd wintered. I'd had a 4 month long winter. I didn't do anything. I hibernated. I let everything settle in my body. And then I woke up. And this is why rest is so important. Please rest before you need 4 months of rest. But if you need 4 months of rest, I'm here for you. I've been there. And I then was able, so then literally 15 minutes later, I laughed again. I was like, yeah, and I have a way more things to do in this life. So like, here we go. And I wrote a book in about 30 days.
Wow.
And that was where the happiness cycle was. I wrote the happiness cycle. I wrote down an entire book that was my healing journey and the healing journey of my clients, how I thought we got here. And whenever I looked at it, it was the happiness cycle. So it was number one, physical body tools. How in 30 seconds to 5 minutes do I start to heal and listen to my body? The second thing was my purpose and my core values. How do I find out who I am without the rest of society, my parents, anyone else telling me who I am? How do I start making decisions like that? And that was off purpose and core values, really establishing those. And then came in goals, limiting decisions. How then am I dreaming? What am I dreaming about? And how do I actually put those things into action? And then how do I actually have awareness to look around at all the other BS that shows up when I try to set a goal? It's like, real cute, Nicole, you are not meant to be a billionaire. Let's drain your bank account and overdraft it 6 times. Like, exactly. Like, and then it was looking at those things and seeing like, oh, okay, cool. Like I'm at cause for my life, right? That was something that I learned very early on. I'm at cause for this. So what is it trying to show me? And then the last part was doing the work, which was the seasons of life. That was, when am I wintering? When do I actually rest? When is it my spring where I'm planting and I'm growing? When's it summer where I'm just staying here? I'm watering what I have, satisfied with what I have. When's it fall? Whenever you just start bringing it all in, you're in receiving mode. You're like, yes, harvest, like, come on. And that was what was born. And I was like, well, that's beautiful. Okay, I'll just see if other people want it. And I started sharing it and it blew up and it's freaking awesome.
That's so cool. That's such an amazing journey. And I love how your business is born out of your own healing and your own journey. And I think a lot of times I don't know if I want to say successful, I don't think that's the word I want. Um, Most meaningful businesses in that come out of our own pain and struggle and journey of we have something to share with the world that we've learned. And I see that in your business.
I think in all of us, right? To think that we would go through all of this and not have something powerful to share with our neighbor. This is where, kind of back to what you said, community, because I had enough community that I could see that other people were saying and dealing with the same things that I held. And obviously, we're coming off the end of COVID. And I was like, my mental health stuff has been going on since I was 12 years old.
Mm.
It's taken me this long to heal. And like I was blessed enough that, and I was privileged enough that I had access to a lot of healers and a lot of teachers and a lot of financial resources that I was able to invest. And I was like, all of this taught me that it doesn't have to be that hard, and that I have to eventually just step in and actually be the person that is healed and realize other things are going to show up. And like you said, I love that word, meaningful businesses. I think that's probably what a lot of people are here. It doesn't matter whether you're selling something, but living a meaningful life that can impact others. That's where the magic happens. That's the charisma. That's the connection that we're all seeking within ourselves and within others. That sometimes we can't see yet because we haven't found our own meaning yet, but it's there. It's waiting for us. It's inside our body. It's right the same way that we found anxiety, the same way we found accomplishment. It's in there.
I just wrote down what you said because I'm like, that kind of sums it up. Living a meaningful life that is impacting others is where the magic happens.
Mm,
Like I think you summed it up right there. Like that's it. Yeah.
thank you for giving me those words. Like that was it's so beautiful how it all comes together. That was meant for you.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fantastic. So I you do have a gift for our audience. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
I do. Yeah. So I mindful medicine is a free mini program and workbook. And it's techniques that take 30 seconds to 5 minutes. There's journaling prompts, there's breath work, there's tapping, there's dancing. And you guys literally get a video of me dancing like a crazy weirdo with no pretty backdrop, no nothing. Because, like, we need this to be real life, yo. Like, if everything looks pretty, you think your life has to look pretty to do it. Everybody wants on the mountain, very serene. Okay, I'm going to do 30 minutes of breath work. Y'all, I'm going to guess 99% of you don't have time for that. If that's what healing looks like to you, you're never going to get around to it. So, what healing looks like to me and what is shown in mindful medicine, which is you guys' free gift, take it, run with it, do all the things. And please, 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 like, tag the business out of me at Mobility Athletes on Instagram. Send it to me on Facebook, whatever. Nicole Woodard, find me wherever you want to find me. But share what it is, because when we empower ourselves, we empower all the people around us. And I take care of all my social media. I love to talk to people. I love to, like, just connect. As I went through this journey, I realized that deep one-on-one meaningful relationships was the only thing that mattered to me. So even though I offer group coaching programs, I only offer group coaching because that's how we get community. But I know everyone in there deeply personal one-on-one, what goals they're working to, all those things. So anyway, I digress. But the 30 seconds is about, can you brush your teeth and after you're done, can you gargle for 20 seconds? That's a vagus nerve technique. Your vagus nerve connects your brain to your gut. It's the biggest nerve in our body. It immediately moves you from stress, that fight or flight, down a little bit more into parasympathetic, a little bit more into rest or digest. Do you have time to do that every time you take a sip of water? Can you? Right? That easy. I just told myself, "Ah, I don't need to be stressed out here on this summit. I can just calm down. I can share my story." That easy. Can you thump your chest when you're driving in the car and the kids are screaming in the back and your to-do list is running? Can you do this? When your husband walks in the door and he immediately goes and sits down and starts watching TV, or your partner does, and you have 50 things and you're trying to cook dinner and you're also want to go work on your business and you want time, can you do ear scissors? Can you just make scissors down your ears? Because that is going to give you more solutions. it's gonna literally change your hormones and your chemicals. I love functional medicine, but here's the deal, guys. You guys can get all the testing in the world that you want. You can take 1,000 supplements. You can go to the doctor and take 100 prescriptions. If you need those things, go and do them. And if you don't start changing your own internal body and your relationship with it, it doesn't matter if it's functional medicine, it doesn't matter if it's the regular medical system, you're going to always need someone else. Empower yourself. And those are just easy techniques. 30 seconds, 5 minutes. Can you de stress, change your life, have a happier life?
Oh, I love it. I'm gonna go look at these 30 seconds for myself. I'm like, I'm gonna do some gargling. I'm like, I need to incorporate gargling daily. I think I need this in my, because I also so before we got on, I told you like I'm a body partner, so I do health and wellness coaching, but I also run my own business, the Recovering Educator, where I deal with stress and burnout for educators. So like this is like that whole stress piece you're talking about, and like becoming at peace with yourself and your body and all of that. And you probably can relate to this. I have said this so many times recently. I don't teach anything earth shattering. I don't teach any fancy techniques. Like I teach foundational things, like the building blocks of a healthy life and healthy stress management. And it's nothing earth shattering. It's basic.
Mm.
It's basic. And like these tools that you have for us, they're quick, they're real life. We can do them in the midst of the hustle and bustle and noise and chaos. So yeah, I love that you empower your clients. So I want to thank you for joining us today. This has been fantastic. And to our audience, I hope you benefited from it too. But if you didn't, like this was something I needed today. So I'm glad you were along with us. Please do check out Nicole Mobility Athlete. Her gift to you, it'll be in the show notes, the comments. It's in the email that you received the link for this. And please take advantage of that free gift. Like she's giving you some amazing, amazing tools, and empower yourself. I think we'll wrap up with that. Empower yourself. So thank you for joining us. Thank you, Nicole, and have a fantastic day.